Jasmine Pineda and Gino Palazzolo's relationship continues to be a hot topic among their fellow cast members from 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. The couple, who are no longer living together, have started to explore other connections. Jasmine has moved in with a friend, Matt Brannis, while Gino has started to connect with someone named Natalie he met through social media. When he traveled to Las Vegas to meet Natalie in person, the visit didn't end well, as Natalie shared that she wasn't interested in being part of an open relationship. The complicated dynamic between Gino and Jasmine has led their co-stars to voice their opinions on the situation. During a recent interview, Georgie Rusev and Darcy Silva offered their different takes on the situation. Georgie bluntly described Jasmine's behavior as very controlling and accused her of keeping Gino in a state of confusion. He stated, "Gino is getting very confused in this situation. He can't take it anymore, I guess." Darcy, on the other hand, expressed her fondness for both Jasmine and Gino, but admitted to having a soft spot for Gino. She hoped that both of them could find peace and happiness in their separate lives. Some believe Gino is at fault for the end of his marriage, while others have different opinions about Jasmine's motivations for marrying him. While Darcy was diplomatic in her remarks, Georgie was not hesitant to criticize Jasmine's actions. It's possible that Georgie's remarks are based on his observations of Jasmine's behavior and intense arguments with Gino. Another possibility is that Georgie's own history with Darcy has given him insight into unhealthy relationship patterns. Despite being together for a long time, their relationship has faced its own difficulties. Jasmine has been a part of the franchise for some time now, and her past on-screen moments are well known. Georgie may have formed his impression of her based on what he's seen of her interactions and disagreements. While Darcy shared her opinions carefully, Georgie was direct. The upcoming 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. Season 9, Tell All will likely be a dramatic affair, especially since Georgie isn't afraid to speak his mind about controversial cast members like Jasmine. Gino Palazzolo sat on his worn leather couch, the remote control idling in his hand. The television was off, a black mirror reflecting the faint, tired light of the table lamp. It had been 3 days since he returned from Las Vegas, 3 days since the brief, exhilarating, and ultimately disastrous rendezvous with Natalie. The trip, meant to be a new beginning, had become a heavy, leaden period at the end of a sentence he hadn't yet finished writing. He sighed, the sound lost in the quiet of the apartment that felt far too big for one person. He replayed the moment in his mind, the same scene looping like a broken film reel. Natalie, her smile still warm, but her eyes already guarded, had leaned forward across the small table at the cafe. "Gino," she'd said, her voice soft but firm, "you're a sweet man, but I can't be a part of an open relationship. I can't." Gino had fumbled with his coffee cup, his mind racing to find the right words to explain the situation. He wanted to tell her that it wasn't a choice, not really. That it was a chaotic, confusing space he was stuck in, a limbo between a past he couldn't fully sever and a future he couldn't quite grasp. He had stammered something about Jasmine still being in his life, still being his wife, and that he wasn't sure what was next. Natalie, a woman who seemed to want a simple, direct path, had seen only a dead end. The warmth in her eyes had faded, replaced by a polite but unmistakable distance. The meeting had ended shortly after, and Gino found himself alone in a city of a million strangers, the glow of the Vegas Strip mocking his solitary gloom. Now, back in his familiar, quiet home, the ghost of Natalie was just one of many that haunted the rooms. The biggest ghost, of course, was Jasmine. Every space in the apartment felt marked by her absence. The kitchen counter where she passionately argued with him, the bedroom where their dramatic disagreements had often been followed by equally dramatic reconciliations, the very air seemed to hold the residue of her vibrant, volatile energy. He remembered Georgie's words from the interview. Georgie, of all people, the man who had his own share of struggles with Darcy, had seen through the noise and pointed directly at what Gino felt in his gut. Gino is getting very confused in this situation. He can't take it anymore, I guess. The words stung with their accuracy. Georgie, the blunt, no-nonsense European, had cut through the polite talk and called it what it was: confusion. Gino was confused. Was he holding on to Jasmine out of genuine love, or was it simply a habit, a deeply ingrained routine of chaos that he had mistaken for passion? Was he allowing himself to be controlled, as Georgie had implied? Jasmine's intensity, her fiery demands and accusations, had always felt like a test of his love. Now he wondered if it was simply a form of emotional imprisonment, a cage from which he was too afraid to fly. Meanwhile, in a sun-drenched apartment across town, Jasmine Pineda was living a different kind of reality. She had moved in with her friend, Matt Brannis, a man whose easygoing nature was the antithesis of Gino's anxious energy. Matt was on his laptop, a comfortable distance away on a plush armchair, while Jasmine meticulously organized her new closet. The silence was different here. It wasn't empty, but calm and a little sterile. She missed the fighting, she realized with a start. The white-hot passion of a shouting match with Gino. The tears, the apologies, the furious makeup sessions. It was a familiar, if exhausting, dance. With Matt, there was only quiet support, a steady presence that offered comfort but lacked the spark she craved. Matt cleared his throat, sensing her mood shift. "Everything okay, Jazz?" "Fine," she said, but her voice was tight. She held up a dress, a bright red one she'd worn on one of their better dates. "Do you think I should keep this, or is it a part of the past that needs to go?" Matt smiled gently. "Only you can answer that, Jasmine. But you look great in red. It's not the dress's fault you're a complicated person." Jasmine huffed, a small laugh escaping her lips. "Complicated? Is that what Georgie called me? He said I was very controlling. Did you see that?" Matt shrugged, not looking up from his screen. "I did. And I've seen the show, Jazz. I've seen some of the things you've said and done. But I also know you. You're not trying to be a villain. You're just intense. You feel everything 100 times more than anyone else. You want things to be perfect because you're afraid of losing them." She paused, the dress still in her hands. Matt's words, so simple and yet so profound, hit her with a painful truth. She was intense. She was afraid. Her demands, her outbursts, were they born of a need for control or a desperate fear of being left alone, of being disposable? Gino's inability to commit, his willingness to explore an open relationship, felt like the ultimate proof of her fears. He wasn't committed to her, so he must not truly love her. It was that simple. And if he was looking for another woman, what was she supposed to do? Wait for him? The thought of Gino in Vegas with some other woman sent a familiar, fiery shot of jealousy through her, a surge of fury and hurt. She threw the red dress onto a chair. He was the one who was confused, not her. She knew exactly what she wanted. A man who would choose her and only her, no matter what. Across town, Darcy Silva was trying to choose her words carefully. She was on a video call with a producer, a pre-interview for the upcoming Tell All special. On another line, Georgie's voice, sharp and opinionated, cut through the digital static. "He is confused," Georgie insisted, repeating his earlier statement. "Jasmine, she makes him this way. She pushes, 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 and then she pulls back, and then she pushes again. It's like she doesn't want to let him go, but she doesn't want to be with him either. Very controlling." Darcy winced. She loved her Georgie, but sometimes his bluntness was a sledgehammer where a scalpel was needed. She took a breath, her voice soft and melodious. "Georgie, I think it's a little more complicated than that. You know how it is. Relationships, they have their own journey. I have a soft spot for Gino. I really do. He just seems like he wants to find happiness, you know. He's not a bad man." Georgie's scoff was audible even through the phone. "He is not a bad man. But he is a weak man. He lets her do this to him. You can't be happy when someone is controlling you. You know this, Darcy. You remember what it was like. Darcy fell silent. He was right, of course. Their own history was a tangled mess of passion and pain, of Georgie trying to find his voice, while Darcy's big personality often overshadowed him. Was that why he saw Jasmine so clearly? Was he projecting his own past experiences onto Gino? The thought was unsettling. She knew what it was like to be caught in a cycle, to love someone so much you were willing to lose yourself to keep them. She saw a glimmer of that in Gino's sad, bewildered eyes, and she saw a flicker of her own youthful intensity in Jasmine's fiery outbursts. Darcy truly hoped they could both find peace, whether together or apart.